Welcome back to everybody to another episode for the Connecticut COVID-19. I know you've been looking forward to this. So, we've made improvements in the death toll. Now, it's going to look a lot like success, and that's what you've been told. That's what the news has told you. And to some degree it has, but like I have said before, nothing has changed percentage-wise that much except for the total count, and those who are losing their lives are in the same area as they always have been. So that's important to know right from the get-go. So we decided to do this last week, which is March 1st through to March 5th. You're going to see some numbers that look the same and some numbers that have slightly changed. So let's go over them quickly as I turn my back to the camera. So on March 1st, you're going to notice something. There's one death. Now, if you were watching last week's episode, you'll wonder why I've got one death in there, because there was two. I know, there was two. And you'll notice over here on the death count that I put up here, on this side here, is minus one death. So that's important to realize. One death is missing, because on the website, for some reason, they have gone down one site, and I should pull it up for you. I should have had this already, because what I do, as I'm scrolling through my phone, what I do is I snapshot every single day. So I compile the data, and then I snapshot it onto my screen. So we can see now, if I can pull this up well enough. Oh, I just hit this off. See, you know, you'd think I'd be better at doing this. This is going to delay the filming even longer. What? It's like a movie studio. It's gone long as supposed to. Now, see, if you can see it, I'll pull up the screen. You'll see this one death. Right there is one. So, now I'm going to go back into the screen. And like I said to you before, what I do is I snapshot it until we have the right death. So we'll go back as a Tuesday, last Thursday. There you go. Two deaths. So you can see two deaths as I put it right in front. Hopefully that picked up okay. So somehow, and I'm glad that there's less deaths. And again, we've talked about this clerical error down 2029. We had the same thing happen before here. There was 6, and then there was 7, and there was 6. And there was 8, and then 7, and 9. I can't remember how it went, but I'd have to look back in the videos and figure it out. And same thing here. That was a 0 to 2 to 1 to a 3. My problem is, someone might chalk this up as clerical error. It happens. Mistakes are made. No big deal. Well, it should be a big deal when we look at this. These are people's lives. So today's video is going to be pretty short, I think. So we look at the change here, and there hasn't been a lot of change at all. From 0 to 9, like I said, there was -1 death. From 10 to 19, there was 0 deaths this week, from last Friday to this Friday. Or today's Saturday, but you know what I mean, within 1 week. 20 to 29, 0 deaths, so no change there. 30 to 39, 0 deaths. These are good numbers, don't get me wrong. I'm not complaining that there's less deaths. 40 to 49, we had 3 new ones. Then 50 to 59, 7 new ones. Then 14 to 60 to 69, 70, 79, 18, then 80 and over 41, making a grand total of 83. I believe the previous week was a total of 100. So the death count, yes, has gone down. There's nothing wrong with that. The cases have gone down. But remember, we were sold a bill of goods. We were sold the idea that this grouping here, 60 to 69 years old, 60, the elderly, we were going to save them, and they were going to get the shots, and they were going to be fine, and then that solve all problems. And I said before last week that Monday we should be at 91% survival rate, because pre-vaccine, we talked about this, went up 3% within the 3 months previous, 3, it went up, and then it dropped to 52%, I'm sorry, 0.52% survival rate. So have we done better there? No, we haven't. and I'm going to get right to the point. Usually I like to talk a little bit longer, but I'm going to get right to the point. So March 1st, we had 60 to 69 years old, 96.79. Then 96.80, and 96.78, 96.79, 96.79. What were we last week on the Friday? So 7 days later, we went from 96.78 to 96.79. It's not exactly a huge jump. And I'm telling you, it should be higher. It should be higher because these vaccine rollouts, hey, you know, Ned Lamont's pulling back some of the restrictions on higher capacities here in Connecticut. Don't be fooled by that. The mask is still being worn. So the number one complaint a lot of people have is wearing the mask. So 70, 79, you know, look it up for yourself, the health hazards over the years that they've talked about wearing masks for long periods of time. I guess things have changed. Science is ever evolving. March 1st, 70, 79 years old, 89.44, 89.44, 89.42, 89.41, 89.41. Huh. 70, 79 years old, 89.41. What were we last Friday? 89.42. Alright, well, we didn't make huge grounds there, did we? We're not jumping through the hoops on that one. So, now we look at 80 and over. This has been declining for a while. So, March 1st, 71.77, 71.77, 71.74, 71.71, and then all of a sudden, 71.72. Wow, that was the first time. And last week it was at 7.81. So it's still down 0.10%, or roughly 0.10%. Now let's look back on February 9th. I gotta move myself out of the way here. We were at 72.28 on February 9th. And we've been declining and declining. That's February 9th, by the way, after vaccines. Decline, 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 decline. February 9th, we're at 89.42. And here we are, almost a month later, 89.41. I don't understand. Well, we should roll back the mandates back here. February 9th, we're at 96.75. 96.79. We went up though, 0.4. But is that really why? That 0.4, is that really 0.04? Is that really why we've eased restrictions? No. Again, narrative. This whole thing has been a narrative. Well, the total cases have dropped. Yeah, total tests have dropped, total cases have dropped. I guess they're running out of people to test after, what, over 7 million tests? So, I guess they figured out a population of 3.5 million people. I'm going to go slightly out of camera. Out of 3.5 million, I'm looking for my dates. At March 4th, as of March 4th, there was 6.8 million tests. And I can't find all my paperwork here, and I should have been a little more prepared, but we'll just go with March 4th, even though it's close enough to March 5th. So just under 7 million tests. Twice the population. Run out of people. I guess they finally figured out after 282,000 positive cases that maybe now that they figured out less than 1%, or I shouldn't say it because it was less than 1% of the total population of senior citizens in Connecticut. But we all know this was not about just the senior citizens. If you haven't figured it out, it's not this far-right conspiracy at all. It's not like this super duper deep state. It's been obvious for a long time. Years. I said plural. Years. It's always been the plan. In fact, there was a commercial for the flu in Canada before COVID-19, the coronavirus here, hit the States and went wild. With the exact same recommendations. It was wear a mask, 6 feet social distancing. Sound familiar? And that was for the flu. That was for the flu in Canada. And now it became the CDC guideline for COVID. I was joking with somebody today that I've always kept a 6 feet distance. called giving people space. Well, probably this culture, unlike many other cultures, have always been like, I need my space type of culture. Stay away from me. We're always worried about the person in front of me. I've always kept distance from people just out of being respectful. It wasn't so much I don't want to catch anything, just being respectful. That's it. But this has been a plan for a long, long time. Now I want to go up here because I didn't originally talk about this just in the beginning of the video. 50 to 59 years old, 99.12, 99.11. Is it a big jump and dip? No, 99% survival rate's phenomenal. I don't know what's going on. I don't know whether the vaccines was helping other than drop cases, I guess. And you got to understand why things are going on. People got wise. People are getting, I'm trying to think of the right, I was going to say hip to what's going on. Boy, that sounds like an old term. People get it. People understand the pushback. And like I said about the mask, I was talking to my brother on the phone because he's from South Carolina. Actually, I was just looking at South Carolina numbers, and they have like 480,000 cases or something like that, positive cases, and almost the same amount of deaths as Connecticut. And what's Connecticut got? 7,708 or something like that. 7,140. Sorry, I'm misspeaking here. Again, don't have my numbers in front of me. If I was to look at it, as if you could see all my paperwork, I always have it. March 3rd, March 2nd. March 4th, March 1st. Somehow I can't find March 5th, which is interesting. Why do I suddenly not find March 5th? I'm sorry I'm out of view, people. I'm sorry, folks. I'm trying to find it, and yet somehow I don't find it. That's it. Oh, it's right here. All right, so March 5th we had 69, so 6.9 million tests. 7,704 deaths. 7,100 of those being 60 and above. I guess vaccine can't make you live forever. And like I said, I've spoken to a lot of senior citizens a lot of my travels, and most of them think it's hogwash. It's just one woman. I was talking to one lady, and there's another lady too. I was talking to an older woman, and I know I'm old, I got the gray hair, but they were much older than me. No offense to them, but they were much older than me. And she says, all this is control. They've been trying for this to do this for decades. Amazing. I guess maybe we don't want the senior citizens around before the government because they still know what's been tried for decades. Do you see who's running? There's only two crowds that are running this whole new agenda. And by the way, not so new. Is the elderly elite that are in power and the young. Same people say they're tired of following the old people, yet it's the old people who have been designing this. And interesting how that works, and it's a hogwash, been around forever. Another woman said the same thing. All it is, and excuse my language, but she called it just a modern New Age version of slavery. Wow. That was an impressive one. Yikes. But she's right. It's all about bowing down to the man. We're still captive. We're free, but in captivity at the same time. Amazing how that works out. So when we look at these numbers, 83 deaths, I'm happy about that. Obviously, who wouldn't be? Less deaths. But here's the thing, less death, less cases. What's the difference in between? And we're going to end up going over that in another video. I want to really break down those numbers because, again, misleading as can be. So let's look at, I'm going to move this way, 80 and over. Out of these 83 deaths, 49.35% or 39%. So 49.39% of the deaths this past week were 80 and above. 60 to 69 made up 38.55, which is 87.94% of this week's deaths were 60 and above. And what do we see here as a pattern, right? It's been like this the whole duration of COVID-19. Anywhere you go, it's the same. It's really the same. The numbers are different, but the trend, the pattern. And as I used to say, you know, pattern, trend, here we go again. So look at, what, not much. Low, 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 well, a little higher, a little higher, a little higher, and all the way up. See, because that's what happens. That's natural. That is the way the cycle of life, so to speak, from what the Lion King happens. You cannot make people live forever. It's not going to work. It's just not. Now let's move over here. Look at the totals. Last week, 88.50. We ended it as a survival rate 16 over. We end this week at 88.52. So we went 88.50. We started the week at 88.52. Went up to 5.3, 5.1, 5.2, and then just squeaked over to get 5.2. Where is the difference? Where is the 88.50? Go back to February 9th, 88.48. A month ago. We made a what? A 0.4 difference? You have a vaccine. It's supposed to take care of all this. They say science, follow the science, follow the science, follow the science. What do you think that is? Data is science. Well, data is just analyzing numbers and putting them together. And, yeah. Well, how do you think they come up with the vaccines? Supposedly, you do studies, blind studies, non-blind studies, but you do studies in a certain percentage of people. So if you take 100 people and 93 of them do well, I'm not going to put the numbers in, you can see the difference. So what does that make? 93% effective. So they say, hey, with those numbers, it works. Looking at the data. Okay, so we're looking at the data. What does the data tell you? The percentage does not change. The totals have changed. They have. Less are dying. Less are going to get tested. I guarantee if all of a sudden we start doing a lot more tests, suddenly it's going to go up. And that's another thing. We might be okay in the summer. We might see a little bit of freedom. And again, we have more freedom in this country than many other countries. We might see that freedom. But you're going to see in certain states, suddenly, it's going to be a spike. The mask-free ones. Not because of the mask. There'll be a new strand. And we've already seen the new strands, but they're going to take hold. Now, I hope I'm wrong. I hope I am wrong. I wasn't wrong about this. I wasn't wrong. I'm not a prophet. But I said a long, long time ago that all of this was going to happen. And there's going to be more coming. If you're a biblical guy or gal, it's going to be worse down the road. It has been written. But the deception of man, the creation of viruses or pestilence of men and women is coming. More and more and more. That's the tip of the iceberg. So when we have this lull, I would take this time. Oh no, I'm fear-mongering. I would take this time to gather what you can, to prepare where you can. Remember that dark winter that was predicted? Biden's not wrong. It's a dark winter. But that winter will be other seasons too. And there's going to be a lot of struggles. There's going to be a lot of them. And there are going to be few that you can count on. People will turn on you. People will narc on you, snitch on you. See, Germany's going to come back into this. And when I mean Germany, I don't mean the country today. I mean what happened with the Nazis. What happened with communism. Turn the people against each other. Then it makes it a lot easier for government to come in. And the save the day situation, what? These vaccines save the day. So when the next one comes around, you will take the vaccine faster. You will bow down quicker. Don't get me started with churches. Every one of you churches out there to shut down, you failed. You absolutely failed. You failed. But what about our people? You failed. You failed God. Luckily, fortunately, I don't go to a church building. And people say, oh then, you know, what are you? I'm getting off track, but these are different videos, Catholic, Protestant. No, I'm neither one of those. I am a Bible believer, and I follow the Bible. I don't follow man-made doctrines. I've read them. I look at them. But the Bible says it's written. I know some of you turned on this video that you weren't expecting any kind of preaching to go on, and I didn't want to do too much preaching there. But understand, these are not numbers from the left nor the right. It's not from any pastor, preacher, rabbi. It is from the Connecticut Department of Health. These are numbers from their website. That's all it is. I just go the extra step and I break it down. I break it down percentage-wise, numbers, what's going on, and they won't tell you the other numbers that I can't even break down. I would love to know which ones are where. Now, the long-term care facility, that's another one. So we have what? I think I said 7,704, and I'll be honest with you, I have not looked at the LTC in a while, and I apologize for that. I should have had these ready for these two, but I haven't done it. It's the last time I've ever even looked at them. 3,800. It was about 3,800, right? Give or take a few, but that was a while. That's a month ago. 3,800 deaths out of the 77 were LTCs. That's almost half. That's another number you have to look at. In fact, now that we're speaking of that, I don't know where it was. It was a drug rehab in Connecticut somewhere, and I don't know what age group it was. There was a drug rehab, and there were 21 deaths. Now, all those can't be elderly people, so that could account for different ages in here. And when I look at some of it, usually it's 30 to 59 right now. I mean, you have 20-year-olds, but pretty much in that area is where those are. So I made this longer video. I made this video longer than I wanted to, and I apologize for that. I tried to keep things brief, but are the vaccines working yet? Well, I don't know. You tell me. We took a little. We went up slightly on a total. 80 and over, still not working. It's plummeted. It keeps going down every day and every week, except for the end of this week. Somehow it took a tiny little jump up after falling 0.10%. And heck, if you go back to February 9th, it's fallen what? Can't even count. Should have done my calculator. Anyway, 72.28. It's dropped to 71.72. Ain't saving the elderly. Don't fool yourself. Don't fool yourself. But this isn't what they're trying to do, percentage-wise. So, do we take hope somewhere? Stephen, you're just negative to this whole thing. Do we take hope? This is terrific. 83 deaths. Why do I say that? Because the week before, it was 100 deaths. Now we're down to 83 deaths. That's awesome. So that means you can take out the mask. You're rolling back the mandates. Take off the mask now. And we get into that. South Carolina, like I was telling you, but they don't have a large mask mandate down there. In fact, there's no statewide mandate. Have they had more cases? Yes. Bigger state. But how, with their non-mask enforcement, so to speak, and no statewide, they have roughly the same amount of deaths. I think they're at 7,800. Right in that area, 79. And I apologize when I'm in front of me. Yeah, I can stop apologizing all the time. Yikes. It was roughly the same. In South Carolina, you could probably fit 3-4 Connecticut's in South Carolina. So, interesting. Did it work? COVID is just going to get you. Like the flu. Mask, no mask, it's going to get who it gets. It is what it is. And it's unfortunate. And I hate that saying. It is what it is. Pre-vaccine, our numbers of survival rate were soaring. Vaccine, we plateaued. Thank you for tuning into this video. For everyone and anyone who's lost anyone during this, I'm sorry you lost somebody. Losing somebody you love is absolutely not easy. I've dealt with loss. My wife has dealt with loss. very close. I don't want to tell my wife's stories. I've lost my cousins. I've lost my mother. I've lost a couple of best friends. But that's no reason to think death is around every corner. Trust in the Lord Jesus. And if you haven't been to church, it's okay. Open the Bible. You're going to do all right. God bless. I love you, and have a beautiful day.